And I just had text her back and just said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. I love you. And I just had to turn off my phone because I was at that point, like I was just riddled with so much guilt and shame. And even how high and intoxicated I was, like I still can feel that the guilt and shame from that. Like, you are a fucking piece of shit.
But that just makes you want to go even harder so you don't feel that way.
Right. You are selfish and self-centered to the core. You give a fuck about nobody but yourself.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. And I just, in my mind at that time, like the only thing I could do was go get my stuff from their house and just stay clear of them so they don't have to witness this tornado in their life. And at least not the full circle of the storm type stuff. And so that's what I did. And that was like the next few weeks was followed by like the most miserable I've ever been. You know, I was anxiety, fear, all the above. You know, and
you on probation? Were you having to check in with?
No, so I had 12/12 my time. I did because I was such a model inmate. They kept me every day they possibly could. So I got out. I didn't have any parole or probation.
So no parole. Wow.
No.
Yeah.
And no, I would have been right back in prison. As a miracle, I didn't end up right back in prison anyway. But it was awful. And so I had started, when I first came home, I started talking, Facebook and everything was like new to me. I was super impressed by it. And so, of course, I'm reaching out to all these girls. Like, I've been gone forever. And, the only girls I know is like from girls I grew up with. And so I'm reaching out to all of them. And I started talking to this one, and she's, we're talking and everything. And I'm like, man, it seems like you're doing great. And, how you been doing all this? She's like, well, yeah, I'm actually sober. And I'm like, what's that even mean? Like you just smoke, you just drink.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You just pop pills. What's that even mean? She's like, no, I'm free and clear of any mood and mind altering chemicals. Like this, I worked this program, I could show you how. And, hey, let me say 1 second. Can you give me 1 second? Let me tell you real quick.
Yeah. Is that part sound that keeps coming in and out like that?
It's on his end because I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, it moves and it goes up.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's fine. Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
They were doing a project out in my office, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Sorry. Okay, so she's like, yeah, this could work. You could have this too. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's awesome. That worked for you. But that would never work for me. You don't get it. This is like who I am, and I bound myself so hard to my past. And she's like, okay, cool. Well, if you ever decide, like, if the pain ever gets bad enough and you want to try, I can point you in the right direction. I'm like, cool, right on. But we stayed talking, and like, I wouldn't go around her because the whole tornado thing, but we stayed like talking on at least like usually once a day, and we would just talk for hours. And so the end of this 3 weeks, it's like I'm failing. Like I can't even do the wrong thing the right way, like I'm not good at this. Like, and thank God for that, because I'm glad I wasn't successful at that. And like I'm losing large amounts of drugs, I'm losing large amounts of money, but like it really messed with me at the time because like I'm letting everybody down. I already let my family down. Now I let this family down, and it's like I'm just no good for anything. And so I went and I got dropped off at this hospital. And in my mind, like, I'm going to go check myself into the psych ward, get some rest, and I'll figure out what to do later. And as I'm walking in, I was like, I'm going to go sit on the riverfront. It's like, I don't know, a half-mile walk. I'm going to go sit on the riverfront, and really I'm going to try to get high. And I go sit on this bench, and I'm sitting on this bench, and it's like I just got hit. I was more broken than I've ever been in my life. Like that 10 years in prison, that 6 years in the hole did not touch the way I felt this day. And I'm
Now you had a
on,
conscience.
yeah, like it. All the fairy tale bullshit I've been telling myself for the last year. Now I don't even have that to hope for.
Yeah.
This is like
Yeah.
this is the end of the road.
Yeah.
And like I just had myself 100% convinced that this world would be way better off without me. And so I'm talking to the girl. I was like, I'm gonna call you back, and I got somebody to bring me some drugs, and he's like, here, meet me up here. And right when he gave it to me, he's like, man, you're fucked up. You need to get your shit together. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Fuck off.
As he's giving you the drugs, you're like, cool.
Yeah. And he's like, here's enough for a few days, though. And so I go, and right when I sit down and right when I look at it, I was like, that's my ticket. That's my ticket out of here. Like, this is enough to easily kill me 10 times. And
was it fentanyl or heroin?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's exactly what I did. Is I put enough in there that I knew was gonna like take me out. It was gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And thank God, somebody came and found me on that floor. And the paramedics came. And they, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 Narcan shots, got me back. And the very, very first words that paramedic spoke to me was, I'm supposed to tell you God's not done with you. He's got a plan for you. And I hear those words like every day still today. I'm actually trying to track that guy down now.
Yeah.
But that was like, man, that was the best day of my life. Like looking back, it seemed like the worst day, but that was the best day because that was the day I was broken. Like that was the day, and I believe for something to be fixed, it has to be broken. And that was the day I became willing, willing to do whatever the fuck it took. That was the end of the road. I can put all what I think I know to the side because I don't know shit. And, the next couple of days were like kind of like a whirlwind. I ended up in the house. I was in the hospital for a day or so, and I end up at my mom's house. And I'm coming to, the next thing I know, I hear that girl's voice downstairs talking to my mom. And next thing my mom pops her head into the door and she's like, hey, get up. You're going to a meeting, right? A recovery meeting.
Yeah. And
I'm like, okay, whatever, cool. And I just go. And, it took me a minute to, actually get sober. I kept slipping, and it wasn't like that was just a simple fix. But like I started doing these things that were suggested to me. And it was just, like at the very beginning, then I get 30 days and, I'm starting to the fog's starting to wear off a little bit. And I realize I'm 34 years old, sitting in my mom's house, without a pot to piss in. She just had to buy me a cell phone. It's like, man, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this bank account, I need this, a car, I need all these things. And I got back to work immediately. And I was 33. Yeah. But it was drilled into me, at the very beginning, man, you don't need to focus on any of that shit. The only assets you need to focus on acquiring are the mental and emotional and spiritual assets. Because if you do it the other way around, you're going to lose everything anyway. And that's something that I still remind myself of today. Those have to come first, because without that, I have nothing. And working this program of recovery, it's not my life, it's my foundation so I can have a life. And that's where I think a lot of people in recovery, going in or thinking about it, maybe they're at the point where I know I should go check myself in, but I want to do that the rest of my life, this, that, and the other. It's because I know the perception I had on it was just a room full of, a bunch of bums and losers or old men smoking cigarettes, bitching about their dead dog. And it's not that.
Yep.
And but it is my foundation so I can have a life, so I can go out and do whatever I want to do, so I can handle weather any storm and still like remain happy, joyous, and free. And as I'm working going through this deal, like it was just crazy, like how these good things started happening in my life, you know. And I'm like kind of at the beginning, like I'm constantly waiting like for the other shoe to drop, like, okay, when's it gonna happen? Like, when's the rug gonna get swept out from under me?
Right.
And because that's what I knew. That's the only life I knew. I was always sabotaging my life so that happened.
Right. Well, and you're also, you don't want to get your hopes too up because you don't want them crushed. So you always leave that like, well, this is nice for now, but
Right.
So
Exactly.
you don't go all in on feeling good, so you can like protect yourself if things go bad.
Right. Exactly. And like, so I'm really working on developing these spiritual and emotional and mental principles and assets, and like really just diving all in on myself, and I started a company in this time, right? And I went back to work in the union, and I was there for a couple months, and I was like, yeah, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. I can feel it in my heart,
Yeah.
and so I told some people like, hey, I'm gonna start a company. And some people, like my wife, who was my girlfriend, that was like, I believe in you, let's do it. I know you can do this. And I had some other people was like, are you crazy? You can't start a company you terrorize in a community you terrorized for half of your life. And I'm like, well, if it goes bad, like that job will always be there waiting on me. I could always go back to that, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And that's what I did. And it was like, but while I was like every day, I didn't have some like mapped out plan. It was at all. It was like the first year, it was me on the site just working sun up to sundown, wearing my tool pouches, swinging a hammer all day long, and with 3 or 4 guys, and I would do all the back end work at night. A lot of 15-hour days, easy. But I stayed focused on like having that foundation, and for me, it's like trusting God and just having that faith and just doing the next right thing, whatever that is. Like that was like at the very beginning, it's like, I don't know exactly what to do. Just do the next right thing. And after that, do the next right thing after that. And we start building up that momentum, and then the next right thing starts happening in our life. And, I remember getting like my life just changed so dramatically so fast, and I don't know why it directly, but I looked at it like, man, I should be dead. I've been given another chance. Like I have to leave it all on the field every day.
Yeah.
And
well, I think that's the difference, right? Like when we put so much energy into being bad, if we just rechannel that into being good, like that's an incredible amount of power that we're harnessing.
yeah, absolutely.
And I do think like addicts, like we tend to be, like you said, the work ethic. We know how to hustle, how to support that habit, how to do what we got to do. So our work ethic and then that power to do good, it can be incredible. Like people vastly underestimate someone who's overcome an addiction, like what a powerful person they are if they channel their powers for good.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, like you said, I mean, I would say 90% of addicts are overachievers.
Yeah.
So it just that first year, I remember like it was like a defining moment. I remember in that first year was this was like the first decent sized job I had. And this was actually probably like in the first like 60 to 90 days of me starting the company. And this is like, I remember as one of the first decent sized jobs. And now when I say decent size, I mean like $5,000 job. Like, cause I did a lot of like $100, 200, 300, 400, these little handyman fix it's like, and I would, okay, if I can knock out 8 of these a day, something like that. But so I get this call. She's been referred, and it's an older woman in her like mid 70s, and she goes and visits her husband every day in a nursing home, and kind of like The Notebook, but reverse roles. So,
I haven't seen that, but I trust you.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it. It's very good. It's a tearjerker for sure. So anyway, I go and you can tell this woman's been burnt, multiple times in the past. She's a little standoffish. And I just was, it's okay. Like, I got you. No one's taking advantage of you. Like, I'm going to take care of you. I promise you. But I can show you better than I can tell you. And she's like, okay, I'm trusting you, and the most important part about me saying that was like, I believed what I was saying, and that was a big deal for me because I was a lying piece of shit. Like, I wouldn't tell the truth if it benefit me better. So it was, I get started working on her house like the first day. And I've been working out on the deck, and her deck, you have to walk through the house to get it. There's no like stairs or anything like that. So you have to go through the house to get it. And that's what I'm working on, is her deck. And about an hour into it, she comes out and she says, okay, well, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go visit my husband for the day. You'll probably be gone by the time I get back. So if you could just do me a favor and lock up, I'd appreciate it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Have a good day. And just got back to work, and, an hour or so later, I gotta go to the bathroom. And she told me to use the bathroom in the house and where it was and everything. And so I go in to the bathroom, and like, right as I'm sitting there, I'm washing my hands. And I just remember thinking, like, if this lady only knew who she left in her house. That was this voice that popped in my head. If she only knew. Yeah. And then, like, immediately after that, like, following up right with it is like, she does know. She knows exactly who she left in her house. Like, you're not that man today. And that was such a defining moment for me. Wow. Because and I hear those words and I just replay that situation all the time. Like, that's not who I am. I have a thing I read every morning that reminds me who I am every day and what I'm doing. And, it was, it's so much like I know I did, and so many other people do. Like, we think we're bound by our past. In actual reality, we're the only ones that bind us to our past. And there can be some situations, but for the most part, that's the case, because moving forward, I think it's only been questioned maybe like 2 times, and we still ended up like, oh, you were in prison. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. We've done, last year we did 10 million in revenue, and we do a lot of properties and take care of a lot of homeowners and business owners. And, but that was just a defining moment for me being okay with like myself and owning that,
That's the key. That's the key. I think about it, and it's just like, who takes accountability for their past? Like, it's like, maybe you're like, ooh, that's a little sketchy, but when someone truly owns it, like I've learned to do, you do, that's the power. And so many people are afraid of that. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was that over that next year, we just kept taking off, and I knew I wanted to scale. I know I didn't want to stay right there just as a business operator, just, selling the jobs, building the jobs, doing all this. And so I did what I needed to do that. I just narrowed the scope and broke it down to the simplest form possible, which at the time was residential roofing, and brought a sales guy on and got a girl trained in the office, and off we went. I just started knocking doors and selling and marketing and building a brand.
Yeah.
And did that for the next couple of years. But we're saying with like owning that past, like I really didn't share my past. Like, definitely not with my employees. A couple knew, but it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that, because I had people try to hold it against me, like workers, ex-employees. I had somebody go tape my mugshot to a door and write this just ridiculous paragraph underneath it. I'm selling drugs out the back door pretty much, and stealing from everybody. And, I had this this guy I was sponsoring, and he was working for me as well. But he's like, man, why don't you just share your story? Like, why aren't you more open with it? And I was like, yeah, I just need more of a foundation. Maybe in another few years, I will have went far enough that I have enough evidence that I've changed and I can put it out there. And he's like, that's bullshit, man. And he said, you've already come so far, and man, we want to come on this journey with you. Like, it is an inspiration. And like, of course, I was like, yeah, man, yeah, you don't really know, man. But then that conversation definitely stayed with me, and it was on my heart. And then I had the guy tape the thing to the door, and it was like I was going to put it out on Facebook like the next day. And I talked with a mentor. He's like, man, I definitely think it's a good idea to share your story, but I just don't think it should be in a reaction. I don't think it should be a reaction. Like, that's not why you really want to put it out there. You want to put it out there to free you of it and help anybody that's going through some struggles. And that is why. And then
it reminds me of, and I just resonate with this so much, that Eminem Lose Yourself, where he's getting ready to go to battle, and the guy thinks he's going to get him for his past, and he goes and puts it all out there before the other guy can. Then it was like, how do you come back from that? Like, you already put yourself out there, so how are they going to come back at that if you own it first?
That's great. I didn't even think of that. That is great.
Have you seen that movie, 8 Mile?
Oh yeah, I just didn't pay attention to that part. Didn't ever think of it.
Pretty amazing.
That
yeah.
Great. And that's when I did, it was funny because when the closer competition came for Apex, I was like, I got suggested to do it. And, I kind of looked in to see what it was. And I was like, the hell with it. I'm going to do it. And it wasn't to win. It was just a reason. And it was really, truly to get it out there. And because I do believe God's made me an example. And that you don't have to live that way, regardless of what it is. Depression, anxiety, fear, divorce, bankruptcy, whatever it is. Like, you don't have to live that way. And, so that was just the reason. I put it out there all the way. It's still on my social media. And that was like, man, that was so free. And it was so free. Like, I don't have any schedule. There's nothing I needed to hide. And I don't have any skeletons in the closet. And I had this, like, my one of the mentor of mine is like, man, some people might not like it, but so many more are gonna love it, and that's what it was. But it was more so like the feeling that it gave me, like, I don't have anything to hide. Like, that sucks if we're trying to hide something.
Yeah. Well, and it just goes better when you own it, because then it can be used against you. We're all humans, and we're all experiencing this human experience, and those of us that overcome something big. And it's interesting because you mentioned depression, anxiety, that. Those are all labels that we give ourselves. This is who we are, but it's not who we are. It's an emotion or a situation or a thing that we went through, but it's not who we are. And so I love that you're, sharing your story, because you're not any of those things. Like the guy I've met and know, he's none of those things. You're very positive and upbeat and fun and an inspiration to so many people. And I love hanging out with you and being around you, because that's not who you are. But you're not your past.
Right. I appreciate that. And that's, and likewise, I mean, same for you. It's like, we have great conversations, and I do love them. And that's what, like, I used to think that, like the drugs and the outlaw lifestyle, all that. Like, I truly thought that's who I was. And that was a lie. That was 1,000% a lie. But in recovery and like freeing my mind of those chemicals, of those substances, like, I got reintroduced to myself, the real me, and that's been the coolest part of this journey, and having the confidence within that, like, getting to know me. And as we, as we continue to grow, it's like, and level up, because it's like every year, it's like we've doubled every single year. And, now the biggest thing, and has been for a while, it's just creating the best foundation we can as a company and with our culture for a life-changing experience for all of our employees, and helping as many people in the community as we possibly can. Because that's like, looking around today, I remember when I first came home, in my mind, like when I was first getting my stuff together, I was like, man, if I can just make 200 grand a year, I will have made it. Like that will be like my deal. Like I'll be okay. And it was like, it's like now I have several employees that make more than that, and getting to be a part of that, and getting to give back and do all these things. It's a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful ride. And I wouldn't change it for the world, man.
I love that. Out of all this, you know what my favorite thing about you is?
What's that?
The animals. I love the animals. Like you and I bonded over the animals. Like,
Yeah.
can you tell us what you do? Like I see those pictures, it just warms
Yeah.
my heart every time because you're way beyond giving to the community. You also help rescue animals.
Yeah. So that's really my wife. She does I do get to tag along with her.
Yeah.
So like I always grew up like with dogs and pets, and I knew like I was a dog lover. I don't know on what level that really was, but so when I met my wife, like my wife's a beautiful, beautiful person, and she owns a dog grooming business, and she loves animals like on another level. And it was like I don't know, I didn't look at it as like weird or anything. I look at it as an opportunity like for me to kind of learn and grow. And just being around her, like I don't think I'll ever get to her level, but she's definitely heightened my emotional connection with animals, period. And because it's like, it's, well, we used to kind of live out in a rural area, and she would see a dead animal on the other side of the highway. I promise, and I keep driving. She's like, "We're turning around, right?" And it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night of a long day, and I'm like, "For what? Like, how did you see that?" And she's like, "Well," and she's like, "No, it's okay. Just go home. I'll come back by myself. We'll pull one of those things." And so obviously, I'm not going to go for that. And but then it's like we go get it off the road, and just so because a lot of times, I don't know, they were dumping dogs, so maybe it could find its owner, somebody could have closure, at least get this animal off the road and cremate it. And that was I would be a little annoyed at first, but as soon as we started the act of doing it, I was like, man, this is cool. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And she, whether it be that or so we'll watch a movie or something. This only happened a couple times. Sit down, right? It's always right when we sit down to watch a movie or relax a little bit. She's like, so yeah, I got to go do this rescue. So just let me know how the movie is. And I'll be like, well, where are you going? What are you doing? Oh, it's an hour away down this dark country, desolate road, but I'll be okay. And okay, so I have to go do that too. And we just turned it into these adventures, and she's really big now she does the animal rescue with dogs, but it's really big now on the rabbit rescue. They started, it's going to be a pretty big deal. It's called Dolly's Dream Home, rabbit rescue. And so she's a huge part of that. And she loves it. And I love that she loves it. It's so selfless. You have to be an amazing, in my book, to be on that level with animals, you have to be an amazing person, to have that much care and consideration for something other than yourself. Absolutely. And she always says, especially with dogs, that's the one thing that's going to love you more than it loves itself.
100%. The loyalty is bar none. That's why, when I travel, I just love coming home. They're always there. I mean, they might act like they're a little mad at me for a second. They want me to know that wasn't cool. But then it's instant forgiveness and just unconditional love. There's nothing like it.
So, absolutely. We have 2 pits, and we did have a bulldog, Big Al. She just passed away about 2 months ago. And then 3 rabbits and a bird. And the rabbits are in their own little section. The dogs totally leave them alone. And it was, so Big Al passed away. Big Al was an American bulldog. And that's like a child,
Yeah.
And it sucks. Yeah. And, we went and fostered we rescued a dog, and I'm so glad that she stuck to her guns on it, because I was like, man, I wanted a mini poodle. Like,
You?
yeah,
Big guy, tiny little dog.
yeah.
That's funny.
Or even just like, I don't know. I just wanted some type of a doodle, you know.
Okay.
And she's a groomer, so she knows what work that takes, you know.
Yeah.
And but she just like, she sent me this screenshot of this dog, and it was a full white pit, and I was like, man, I've just had pits all my life, I want something different. And she's like, sent me the screenshot of this dog, and was like, well, I'm going to a meet and greet, because we're going to take our other Tino to this meet and greet. And she's like, I'm going to the meet and greet, it's on Friday, so I hope you're coming. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not going. That's, we're both a little hard headed. And she's like, okay, well, I really wish you'd go. And so of course I ended up going, and it was like, we brought the dog home, and like, I'm so glad we did. It's a beautiful, he's a wonderful dog. Still got some puppy tendencies, but he's great. But those, yeah, I mean, we have her son Landon, he's 15, and our animals, and it's like, that's our family. And I love every bit about it. I have a life today I never thought in a million years I could have. And it's still jaw dropping to me. And I think that's kind of the secret for like, is waking up in awe every day.
Yeah. Awe and gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude pretty much fixes anything. I think, I think people are becoming more aware of that, but it truly is. If you can just spend some time in gratitude for all the things you do have, it can really change like a bad mood or a bad day, any of it.
Absolutely. I'm really big on like setting the foundation for my day.
Yeah.
And I get up 4:30 every morning, and I don't know, I look
4:30.
Like, yeah.
It's cold and dark at 4:30.
Yeah. That's like my time to set that spiritual foundation,
I love that.
And go through like a gratitude list. And I look at it like I'm putting on armor every day. I'm about to step out in this battle, and I got to set the foundation mentally, spiritually, physically. And, I'm rolling into the office, and I get those things done. It's like, then I feel like I can offer my world the best version of myself that I can. I'm ready for whatever's thrown my way, and I'm going to have a great day that's not contingent on anything around me.
I love that. So you work out in the morning.
Yeah. I have to. I have to knock it out first thing.
Yeah.
I'm not
but like you said, then it sets the tone for the day. I like working out later, but then for different reasons, but I know most people, like, they're far more successful if they just handle that in the morning.
Yeah. One thing that like changed my life, it was about a couple years ago, and it changed my perspective, because I was talking to a mentor of mine, and I was calling him with some catastrophic thing of the day going on. And he said, okay, so what I want you to do right now is, right when we get off this phone, I want you to stop. I want you to thank God for that thing happening in your life. I want you to thank him for giving you the strength to go through it and the wisdom to grow through it. And it doesn't matter if it's God's and Buddha, Mother Nature,
universe,
whatever it is. Yeah, anything. It's just like the act of that, like, thank you for this happening. Thank you for this person stealing from me. Thank you from this person, screwing me over some way, shape, or form. And so just taking on that perception, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. This is just something that more that I can learn and grow through. And like, one thing I've learned, if I can gain the value out of those little things, it's worth way more than that. The value of the experience is worth way more than that deal or that person that stole whatever, but that's just the perception I have to take on it. And that really did change my life, man, because it stopped me from harboring these things. Like, damn, that didn't go my way. That's a problem. That's an issue. And I truly look at every day, like, I wasted and threw away half my life. And I truly look at, like, we just got this one day. We got this one day to be happy. We got this one day to be fulfilled. We just got this one day. Like, what's worth taking that from us? you know, and so many people get caught up on the lady that cut them off in traffic or the whoever it is, all these small, minute things. But it's just so not worth it. It's not worth taking today from us.
I love that. And it's a great reminder because it is easy to get caught up in that stuff. I had an interesting reminder this Sunday. So I'm a huge Niner fan, and we were very favored this week. And at halftime, we were behind, and I wasn't expecting it. I was like, wait, what? This is about to be over, and I didn't even see it coming. Like it was like a weird emotional, mental, like I wasn't prepared for this kind of thing. But it's like what you said. It's like, you know, whatever it is, you just got to embrace it. Like it's happening for us, not to us. And there's something to be gotten out of it, and it could be taken away like that. So enjoy every minute of every day because it could just be done.
That's it. That like really and truly. And this thing is so fragile and so precious.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't think it's everybody, and I have to remind myself of that.
Right.
And because it doesn't matter, like if you're listening to this, like it doesn't matter, oh, well, I haven't been in prison and I haven't done this. It's like we've all hit, if you're anything even close to like me, but I'm pretty sure most people have hit these spots in their life that they don't want to go back to, that it's dark and gloomy and they just seem doomed. We all have those spots. You know, so to be doing, and even if you are in that spot currently, like just because, oh, I haven't been in prison, that's just the scenery. It's just the scenery. It's not the depth. It's the depth that matters. You know, everybody hits those depths. It just looks differently for people.
Sure. And did you grow and learn from it? Or are you going to go do it again because you didn't? And then you're going to repeat the cycle over and over because you're not getting the lesson that you need to be getting from it and changing from the adversity.
Yeah, that's God, the universe, whatever it is. It definitely will teach us that same lesson over and over again.
Yeah, well, and that's where that saying too, the gift of adversity. It's like some people just see it as like this thing being done to you, but when you start to look at it, it's being done for you. It can really shift perspective on a bad situation.
Yeah, no doubt. That's just, and that having that ownership and getting out of that victimhood stance. Like whenever I stopped taking the victimhood stance on everything, like and was able to call myself on my own bullshit and really could take an honest assessment of myself. Like that's when things started kind of change rapidly. And like whenever I started really focus on becoming the best version of myself, it just rippled all around me.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and I think for us, it's survival to not expose our weaknesses. Growing up in that environment, like you have weakness, people attack, and so even when we have shortcomings, we're not owning that because that's not survival back then. But now, you know, in this stage of our life, this has become survival, is owning it,
right?
Exposing it and being vulnerable and being okay with that and knowing, you know, the right people will be there for you if you're owning it.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's 1,000% true. It was, and I tell all of my team, you know, just don't hesitate to ask questions, you know. And that was like when I was starting this business, I went and sat down with every company in the industry that would sit down with me and just had a list of questions. And some of them were like, yeah, fuck off, get out of here type deal. But like, I just kept going, you know, and it's like, and I kept stepping into these bigger rooms. And it just blows my mind today, like of where I'm at in life, you know. And it's like I truly feel like we're just getting started. Like we're just getting started. This is only the beginning. And
for sure, especially for you to be where you're at in such a short amount of time. My gosh, it's amazing. You have such unlimited potential. It's crazy. I love.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I just want to help as many people as I possibly can, you know, acquire the best quality of life, you know, quality or them acquire the best quality of life they possibly can, you know. And that's what I don't know. That's what I feel I've been called to do. And it's a wonderful ride. That's what gets me up out of bed every morning, you know.
I love that. So typically I would ask a guest, because of the name of my show is Going Rogue. That's been my life and why I'm at where I'm at today. But I feel like everything we talked about with you is you've kind of gone rogue when people told you you can't do this or you shouldn't do this. Is there another experience that you've had in your life where going rogue was the right thing to do and it benefited you? Or not?
Yeah, that's I was told